Burn City Suns talk. Brennan and Damian. Like Ayton on the run, the way you containing them. All the latest from coming to the Suns. Inside information and getting it done. For Phoenix Sports, they number one. Kinda like Booker, yeah, they on the rise. Come and see, it's all things Phoenix. Burn City Suns talk, we going live.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Burn City Suns Talk podcast. My name is Brendan Mao, and alongside me is Damian Adams, and we will be your co-hosts every week for the show here on YouTube.
Yeah, so Burn City Suns Talk is going to be the hottest show speaking on the Suns. We're going to keep it 100% real about everything going on with the Suns. We're going to be fair, but we're going to be real, and that's where you come here to get real talk about the Suns.
Yeah, Damian. Me and Damian will be covering the Suns all season long. We'll be at practice and games, so we'll be providing you inside updates to what's going on inside the team and everything else you need right here every week. Today, Damian, what are we going to break down?
So today we're going to get into a lot of things. Of course, the big trade that went down just last week, Deandre Ayton going to Portland, along with so many other moving parts in a three-part trade, along with our expectations for the Suns this year, Media Day, and training camp. But before we get into that, we have to introduce ourselves. This is the first episode, so you get to know us a little bit. Tell people about yourself, Brendan.
Yeah, so my name is Brendan Mao. I grew up right here in the Valley, so I'm very excited to cover the Suns this year. I started working for Burn City Sports in April, started covering ASU, and now I'm transitioning over to covering the Suns. I graduated from ASU in December of last year, so I'm very excited to get to work on the Suns this year.
For sure, man. I'm right there with you. I'm originally from Louisiana. I've been out here in Phoenix since 2017. I've covered high school football, the Phoenix Mercury, and now the Phoenix Suns and Arizona Cardinals for Burn City Sports. So now let's get into the big-time trade. Can you please tell the people the details of the trade?
Yeah, Damian. So the Phoenix Suns traded away Deandre Ayton and rookie Toumani Camara to the Portland Trail Blazers last week in a big blockbuster deal that also included Damian Lillard going to the Bucks and Jrue Holiday going to the Blazers. And as for the Suns, the four pieces they got were Jusuf Nurkic to replace Deandre Ayton, as well as Nasir Little and Keon Johnson from the Blazers and Grayson Allen from the Bucks.
Yes, man, it's a huge deal. It shook up the NBA world last week, and now we've had a week to let it marinate and really think about it. So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the trade from the Suns side?
Yeah, Damian, I know you saw yesterday we went to Media Day, so you could just tell the franchise was excited about Jusuf Nurkic specifically. They feel like he's an upgrade over Ayton. I think for the Suns, it's going to take them longer to kind of mesh together, in my opinion, because they have 13 newcomers total now. So just adding these four guys, it could create some sort of chemistry, not issues, but just taking longer to develop it in the beginning of the year. But overall, I think it's going to be seen. I really don't know. I think it could be 50-50, like both teams got better.
Yeah, when you think about the fit standpoint, you definitely look at it from that point because Ayton seemed like he wanted to get out of here, right? And there is an article on Burn City Sports, plug, that you can check out about that article and about that trade and about his thoughts on it. But Ayton went to Portland where he's going to have a bigger role, and now Nurkic comes here where he may be the better fit. And even though I personally think it's a downgrade to go from Ayton to Nurkic because Nurkic hasn't been as durable as Deandre Ayton over the last few years, especially after that leg injury that he had a few years ago. And also, he's been less productive. Last year, he only averaged 13 points a game compared to Ayton's 18, 9 rebounds compared to Ayton's 10, and he played less games. So when you look at it as far as from a talent standpoint, they definitely downgraded, but it might be good from a chemistry standpoint because Nurkic isn't going to want the ball as much as Ayton. He's going to be somebody who can set picks, roll to the basket, and is known as a better defensive center from his history in the league. But I don't know if he's going to be a better defensive center now because he has taken a step back the last few years.
Yeah, for sure. But what we've seen of Nurkic and most of the players on this team is that they want to win a championship. So like they said yesterday in media, that they're all bought in, and Nurkic seemed like he's really willing to play that role. Another piece me and you have talked about of that trade is Grayson Allen. I think he can be a really good fit for the Suns just because of how scrappy he is and his ability to shoot the ball. So I think getting Grayson Allen will really benefit the Suns in the long run this season because of his style of play.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a big fan of Grayson Allen. He shot just under 40% from three last season. He's somebody who can defend, good at his position. And also, you mentioned that scrappiness. That's somebody that you want on your team and not playing against every night. I think that will add some toughness to this team. And it's also a team that we question defensively. So the addition of Grayson Allen will help on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and Nasir Little's another guy that they got in the trade that can kind of fill that same role as Allen of being a defensive guy. But overall, I mean, they had 13 newcomers this season. They're going to have to get rid of 2 guys before the season starts because they have 19 total. 2 of those are two-way spots, so that makes 17 on the main roster. So it was, for James Jones and Matt Ishbia, it was a crazy offseason considering all the moves that they made.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the biggest moves was adding Bradley Beal. What were your thoughts when they initially made that deal?
Yeah, I was like, well, my initial thoughts were like, how do they get Bradley Beal for this?
Yeah.
And then you saw the picks that they eventually were announced. So, but I think Bradley Beal, I mean, we've seen him this week. Like, I'm really excited to watch him here because of the way that he conducts himself, and he's not going to be a guy that's involved in a lot of drama. He's going to be here, do his business, similar to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. They want to win a championship. So I think he's a guy that he's been with Washington for so long, and now he gets to restart his career in a place where they have so many weapons. So I think he can really help the Suns this season and is going to buy into whatever they want him to do.
No, he's definitely the consummate professional, and I think this team is full of professional players who have been doing it for a while. So when you look at this roster and you look at this coaching staff, what do you expect from the Suns this year?
Yeah, I mean, my expectations are, I think my prediction is that they can make it to the NBA Finals and win it, but I don't know. It could change. Me and you have talked about a lot about injuries. Yeah. They have a lot of guys that have been injury prone in the past. So can the depth step up when it's time in the playoffs, which we did not see last year? But yeah, so I think having a full season with this team instead of just half a season is really going to help out this year's team.
Yeah, for sure. You make a good point about the injuries. Last year, the 4 starters that we know are locked in, Booker, Beal, Durant, and Nurkic, all missed at least 25 games last year. So when you look at it from that standpoint, that is a big concern for the Suns. But if this team can stay healthy, they should have one of the best records in the Western Conference, which will put them in the best place possible to get to the NBA Finals. But I still like that Denver Nuggets team. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, that's a tough squad. I don't know if the Suns could beat them.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, do you think that the Suns improved their roster because of the massive turnaround that they have this year?
Man, that's a good question. There's so many moving parts to it, but when you think about adding somebody like Bradley Beal, who's a former scoring champion, to Devin Booker, along with Kevin Durant, when you have 3 scorers like that, it definitely is a big improvement on your roster because offensively, they're going to be unstoppable. The big question is defensively, and that's where Nurkic comes in, Allen, Little, like you mentioned. So if they can play defense at a normal level or an average level, I should say, they will be a great team, but that's the question that we just have to wait and see if they can really bring that defense each and every night.
Yeah, speaking of defense, the Suns also added a new head coach in Frank Vogel that's very defensive-minded guy. So we went to training camp today, and we saw Bradley Beal talk about the physicality. Him and Vogel have already talked about that. Yeah. So Vogel wants that to be like a hallmark of this team, that they can be physical. And I think that if you want to win a championship, which I think all the guys are bought into doing, then you need to be physical and play defense. So when you have this talent of an offensive roster, do you think Frank Vogel can help them elevate that to the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I think he is a great head coach. We saw that in his time with the Lakers and also his time back with the Pacers way back in the day. He's always been able to coach defense. Anytime he's had a successful team, those teams have been top 5 in defensive efficiency. So when you look at it from that standpoint, he'll be able to let these players know where to be and how to play defense in this system. So I think they'll be a better than average defensive team, but they don't have the personnel to be one of those great defensive teams he's had in the past. But as long as they're average, along with the offense like we mentioned, they'll be pretty good.
Yeah, Damian, we got a chance to talk with Frank Vogel and all these newcomers yesterday at Suns Media Day.
Damian Adams here with Burn City Sports. Is there anything that you learned from your time with the Lakers that you're able to bring forward to help Phoenix win going forward?
Yeah, hi, Damian. And I think every coaching spot that you have, you learn different lessons. I cut my teeth at Indiana as a head coach. I learned to evolve my system in Orlando. I learned to work with elite stars in LA, and see them transition into the modern NBA. So I think those are probably the biggest lessons with the Lakers is working with elite stars that were in their prime that I didn't necessarily have in Indiana, Orlando. But those lessons and like I said, transitioning, the system, to evolve with the way the modern NBA plays basketball, because the game is very different than it was 5-10 years ago.
Bull right here in the middle, Brendan Mao from Burn City Sports. Obviously, your game, you like to shoot it as a big man, and now you get to play alongside one of the greatest bigs ever to be a shooter in Kevin Durant. So what has that relationship been like so far here?
I think it's pretty cool, especially that's definitely my favorite player growing up, someone I looked up to. And coming into the league, I was really looking forward to playing against him. But fast forward to now, we're on the same team and get to compete with him and against him every day in practice. And I think that would be very cool for me.
Damian Adams here, Burn City Sports. Who are some of the players that you grew up watching that you modeled your game after?
Dwayne Wade was my favorite player growing up. I actually told James Jones that they would come and play. Those Miami teams would come and play a preseason game in Jacksonville, where I grew up. They would play against Orlando. And I went to one of those games, and that was kind of what got me to be okay, that's my team. I'm a D Wade fan. And so he was part of the reason why my favorite number was 3. When I was outside, practicing in the driveway, I would have the hoop lowered down to 7.5 feet. And then each year I was putting it up a little bit more and more and more as I was able to do dunks like he was. And I know my reputation now in the league is a shooter now, but when I first got to college, for the first 2 years, I was a driver. And a lot of the stuff that I was doing was just stuff that I saw D Wade do. So my early game was heavily Dwayne Wade influenced.
Hi, Nasir. Brendan Mao from Burn City Sports right here in the middle. How did things change for you going from Portland to Phoenix, just with the different states that the organizations are in right now?
The funny thing is that, I was out here in Phoenix in the off-season training, so I'm pretty familiar with the city. I got some people out here that I know that I'm cool with. My trainer's out here. So I'm relatively familiar. I think, the toughest thing is just the timing of it all. And it caught me completely off guard. I wasn't prepared. And it's so many things you got to figure out in a short amount of time. And all the while you got the start of the NBA season coming up. So I think, that's kind of the toughest part of it, is trying to figure out the life side of the trade, all while trying to keep that focus heading into a season. But, I think me being familiar with the city is making it a little bit easier for me, so it's been relatively smooth.
What were your initial thoughts on Media Day after we went there?
I love the way that they run Media Day. I've seen other Media Days where they have a bunch of players all over the place and you have to go and choose where you want to go. They did individual press conferences for each player and also the owner and coach. And it gave you a chance as a reporter to really narrow down on what you wanted to ask for each player and coach. And it was very organized and well run. So I definitely thought it was dope. And I love how they were all on the same message. We heard the term fit a lot yesterday, and that came to Yusef Nurkic and Grayson Allen about the fit they have with the team. So hopefully they have the right puzzle pieces to fit together to be able to win a championship. And I think we saw their cohesion there in Media Day.
Yeah, and it's most NBA fans are it's like Christmas, because it's the first day of that you get to see everybody in their new uniforms, and especially for the Suns with all the new guys that they have. It was just cool to see how their personalities are going to fit in with this team, and how they approach the media. And so I'm really excited to see how these guys gel together.
For sure. And we got a little taste of that today in training camp. So what were your thoughts on the questions and answers we got today in the first day of training camp?
Yeah, I don't know how to put it, but it was kind of a different vibe in the building today because everyone seemed, it was their first day, but like many of the players said, they've been working out all summer. So today was their first official day, and they also, it's probably the first time they worked out with the 4 new guys they got in the trade. So overall, it was cool to hear them after practice. We heard from Bradley Beal, Eric Gordon, and Frank Vogel. They all were very excited about this team and just getting things underway.
Yeah, no, like for media day, you felt a mood of cohesion, a mood of happiness. In the first day of training camp, you felt more of a mood of intensity, a mood of like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to get ready. It's time to win a championship. You definitely felt that out there today when we interviewed those guys, and just seeing the guys in the background working on their free throws and things like that. You saw that this is the time to get ready.
Yeah, Damian, and yesterday at Media Day, we had a chance to talk with some of the players. So what was your favorite question that you asked at Media Day?
So my favorite question that I asked at Media Day, Grayson Allen. So I got to talk to Grayson Allen and ask him who his favorite player was growing up and who he modeled his game after. And he said Dwayne Wade. And when you look at Grayson Allen right now, you don't think Dwayne Wade, right? Because he's a shooter, a defensive guy. Dwayne Wade was a slasher, dunker. But if you watch Grayson Allen's highlights from high school and his first couple years in college, Grayson Allen was out here yamming on people. He was out here putting people in the hoop. He definitely can still have that ability to dunk on people, and he will catch some people off guard this year by getting some dunks, and that Dwayne Wade influence you'll see throughout the year.
Yeah, for me, I asked Bobo a question about him coming over here to play with Kevin Durant. I think it's going to be exciting to see him and KD on the same team because Bull has struggled from the three-point line, but he's always been, since high school, we've seen the clips of him shooting threes and draining them. So can he get that consistent role and learn from Durant, and can Durant be a mentor for Bull on this team and help him kind of settle into finding himself?
No, that's definitely very, very intriguing because Kevin Durant's influence, I think, is kind of underrated when it comes to the league. When you see players like Bol and Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama, players who are that tall, who can handle the ball and shoot like that, the Kevin Durant influence is very, very real, and I think that he'll have a positive influence on Bol.
Yeah, I mean, were there any other questions that you would like to share that you asked?
Yeah, so I got to ask Frank Vogel about what he's learned through coaching, especially during his time with the Lakers. And he had a very good answer about each stop that he's had and how it's helped just mold his coaching style to where he's perfectly ready now for what he's going to do with Phoenix and help try to lead them to a championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see what Frank Vogel can do with this team. I mean, we talked with him today at training camp and yesterday at Media Day, so just my first impressions on him are that he's very nice, and like he said, like anytime someone asks him a question, he'd be like, "Hi, Damian." Like he wanted to be a very personal guy. So I'm excited to see what he does at the helm of the Suns and how his style of coaching matches with all the players.
Oh, for sure. And did you have any other questions that you want to highlight?
Yeah, so I asked one of the newcomers in the Deandre Ayton trade, Nasir Little, what were the differences between Phoenix and Portland, and he gave like a really detailed response. He said he actually lived here, he worked out here, his trainer's here, so it's kind of easy for him to adjust, but I mean, Phoenix and Portland are two completely different places. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely dope, man. And did we have anything else you wanted to touch on in today's episode?
I don't know. What's your prediction for the Suns this year?
So my prediction, Suns fans, don't hate me, but I got the Suns losing in the Western Conference Finals to the Denver Nuggets. I got the Nuggets going back to the finals. Again, don't hate me. I hope I'm wrong, but I got Denver winning it all, or at least going to the NBA Finals.
You think that the Nuggets still have the depth that's necessary to make it that far?
Yeah, because they did lose two big pieces in Bruce Brown and also on their bench as well as Jeff Green. But when you look at that starting lineup, it's such a cohesion to that lineup and what they've been able to do. So I think that they'll be able to really just use that starting lineup to build up leads to where their bench won't matter as much.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I kind of disagree with Damian on that. I think that the Suns have the roster to win it all. I mean, I don't think there's any reason they shouldn't. This is kind of their last year that they can really build out this roster with them operating over that second tax apron, which goes into effect next year. So it'll be harder for them to get players here. But now they have the roster that should win the championship. On paper, it's one of the best rosters in the league, especially when you have all these pieces around a big three in Durant, Booker, and Beal. So, like I said, a whole season playing with these guys, getting them to gel together, I think is going to all come to fruition with winning the NBA title.
Ooh. So, Suns fans, hopefully he's right. Hopefully I'm wrong. But we'll just have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, so just thank you for tuning in to our first ever Burn City Suns Talk podcast. We're going to be doing these weekly. We're going to post them on YouTube for now, hopefully other places in the future. But we're really looking forward to the Suns starting their season.
Oh, for sure. And make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Burn City Sports. And you also check out our Burn City Suns Talk shorts on our Burn City Sports YouTube page. And make sure you follow us individually on social media as well. What is your social media?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter or X, as it's known now, at Brendan_Mao.
And you can follow me on all social media platforms at The Real Deal WDA. That's The Real Deal. W as a whiskey, D as in Delta, and A as in Alpha. Until next time.
Phoenix, Burn City Suns Talk, we going live.